International Airport. It's United Airlines' newest hub and home of some of the world's biggest planes. Join us on the tarmac and in the tower. Explore the cockpit, the cabin, and the belly, and find out how the airport works.
Fasten your seatbelts, kids. We're going on a
field trip! Pack up your juice pack, put them in your backpack. Yippee-ki, yippee, yippee, yip! Don't be slow, we're ready to go. We're leaving on a field trip. There's so much to discover, so much to do and see. Who knows what we'll uncover? And I'm waiting patiently. We'll take a hike, we'll ride a bike, we'll dig for dinosaurs. We'll sing a song, we'll come along.
You caught me on the fly here. Get it? Fly? I'm at the airport, and this is like my very, very first time I've gone on an airplane, and I'm really excited because I'm going up to Denver's International Airport. It's like a really cool airport to explore, at least that's what I hear. While over there, we're going to look at some of the planes in the United Fleet, like the new 777, but I'm really late.
This is Denver International Airport, where Field Trip made a visit to United Airlines operations. Our first stop was the big new plane, the 777.
Wow. You ever wonder how they fly those things?
just to the left here on the hallway. You guys know, do you know what this is for?
To direct it?
Yeah, that's sort of like the steering wheel in your car. We call it a yoke. And it goes forward and backwards. You can push it forward. That's how we go down. And you pull it back. That's how we go up. And then between your feet, way up in front there are two rudder pedals. And that's how we keep the airplane going straight through the air. Do you know what these levers are for right here? Those are the throttles. They run the engines. So when we want to go fast, we push those forward. You can give it a push. You might hear a noise here in a second. And then you pull it back. That's how we speed up and slow down in the air. When we get ready to go fly, we meet in a room called Flight Operations, and we meet the rest of the crew, and we get a whole bunch of paperwork.
The crew checks the flight plan, which is like a road map through the clouds. Plus, they check the weather and make sure the airplane's in tip-top shape.
When we agree that the airplane will be a safe flight to go and take you somewhere, we come out to the airplane. And the first thing we do is check the airplane. So we start by walking around the outside of the airplane and making sure that all the pieces are attached properly and that there are no leaks or anything like that. You know how far it is when you walk all the way around this airplane? What would you guess? A quarter of a mile.
When you turn the airplane on, you have to do all this?
Oh yes. It takes us about 10 minutes to go through and make sure all the switches are in the right place, and then when we're ready, we start the engines. This is the air conditioning and pressurization system. This is the fire system, the fuel system. This is the hydraulic system here. And this is the electrical system over here. And this is how you turn on the seatbelt sign.
How do you pull the airplane out of there?
There's a big tractor that you can't see that hooks onto the nose wheel, and it pushes us backwards. And when we get back far enough, it unhooks. We start the engines, and then we move on our own power.
Takes you to the runway?
No, we usually take ourselves to the runway with the engines.
Flight attendants Frank and Karen have a lot to do to prepare for the flight.
We're for United Airlines, and this is our 777. Before we start our flight, we do our pre-flight safety check, and one of the first things we do is we check that our jump seat is okay, that the seat mounting and security and the shoulder harness are secure and stable. And then we look at the arming and disarming of the door. We do that at every departure and every arrival.
The in-flight briefing sheet lists all the crew names and jobs, the flight time, movies, and the food on the flight.
When everyone gets on the airplane, the last thing we get from the agents before we close up the airplane is a manifest. And it lists all of our first-class customers' names special mail that tells you where they're seated
Where do they get their seat number?
when they check in at the gate with the customer service agents.
You have a good trip. I will. Thank you.
Bye.
You guys all buckled up? One of the things that we do is we are in charge of safety. For takeoff and landings, you have to make sure that your seat back is all the way up, your seatbelt is fastened, and all your carry-on luggage is stowed. Your backpacks are perfect items to slide underneath the seat so that you can get to them at any point. The other bigger items can go up in the overhead compartments.
You want to put your bag underneath the seat in front of you. Because everybody thinks, okay, the room underneath the seat, my seat is mine, right? Not really. It's actually the room underneath the seat in front of you. That's your stowage space.
How do you get, like, your attention? Like the steward or the stewardess' attention?
Okay, well, there's a special button. And that's right here. See the little picture of a person? You press that button, hear that little bell? There's a light goes on right above your seat. We have a screen. We have 3 of them on the airplane, 1 in each cabin. And I can press that screen and it will show me who rang their call button. I can go right over to see what they need. But those call buttons are pretty much in case of an emergency. Because if everybody rang them every time they wanted a pillow or something, we wouldn't know who really needed somebody or not.
Why do we have to turn off our video games and headlights and TVs whenever we're in a certain point in the air?
Well, the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of flight are the critical phases of flight. And during those times, sometimes a portable electronic device can interfere with the electrical components in the cockpit. So just to make sure that there wouldn't be any problems, we just play it safe and ask everybody to stop using those.
Why do you have to, put your tray up before you land or before you take off?
Our primary reason for being on board is for your safety. That's why we're here. So, when you have your tray table down, that may affect your exit in case of an emergency. If she had her tray table down, you think you could get out? It'd be a little tougher, huh? So that's why we make sure everybody's tray tables are up and the seat backs are forward, for your safety.
Field trip will be right back after these messages. And now back to field trip.
All right, almost there. Sit back, watch a movie, have a meal.
The food is delivered to the plane in little carts. The carts are placed in the galley. That's the kitchen on the plane.
First thing we do is we check to make sure that we have all of our meals. We come down here, we find that we've got our tray setups right here. This is for first class, so I know that I have 12 trays here. Come over here to find that I have my meals. They're not boarded frozen, but we do have to cook them when we're on the airplane. Today we're having chicken with carrots and rice. I like to make coffee right away because the pilots are usually getting on quickly and they like coffee to make sure that they are ready to roll. So I'm going to turn this machine on. This is what we put our coffee packet in. We serve Starbucks coffee at United Airlines. Should we give them the decaf or the regular coffee? What do you think? Regular, okay. So we take our little packet of Starbucks coffee. We actually slide it into the metal pan holder here. Put it into the coffee maker. Push brew. How do you like that?
And all these different compartments have all different things. This one, we have our milk, our juice, lemons and limes, everything you would need in a kitchen. Because this is just a kitchen on an airplane.
I thought it was bigger.
Well, in this airplane we have 3. There's one for the first class galley, or first class cabin. There's one for the connoisseur cabin, and then there's a real big galley in the back, and that's for the coach cabin. That's where most of the people sit.
These are real ovens, they're not microwave ovens. A lot of people ask us if they're microwave, so they're not.
Thank you, Mr. Polisar. You're checking 2 bags.
2 bags, right.
And your flight is leaving from gate DH.
Where are my bags going? Where are they going?
Ground Services Instructor Jerry Hauschel knows luggage makes quite a journey even before getting on the airplane.
At the main terminal, which is about 3 miles down that way, okay? The bag goes on a conveyor belt into one of these carts. It's called a DCV, or a Destination Coded Vehicle. What they do is once the bag enters the cart, the computer remembers that that bag was going to Reno. And as See the numbers on all these little cars? It knows to send that cart number over here to where the Reno bags are going to dump out.
The bags go up the conveyor belt. Then, they are put onto a cart for a ride to the airplane to be loaded into its belly.
Pretty simple, huh? And we have to use codes. We have to use codes for everything. This bag is going to RNO. Where's that? Does anybody know where that is?
Ontario.
Ontario? Where? Rhode Island? Where? Okay, that's where the bags are going. Up here, we have to code everything. So all the bags that are going to go to Reno are going to come up on this. They call this a carousel. If you remember, I told you that when the bags are checked in at the main terminal, they go down and the computer knows where they're at. But sometimes the computer gets a little confused and it forgets. So what it does is it takes them to a special place and it dumps them out of those little cars and they come up here. And that's what Gene does. Okay? Gene catches all the bags that the computer forgets about. And he gives it a little shot with that laser there, and it reminds the computer where to send the bag.
We took a shot at helping some forgetful bags find their way.
Right there's the trigger. What I want you to do is shoot it right at that bar. Oh! Don't let go. Close. Close doesn't help. There you go. Here, Pete. Okay, you're sending bags.
Oh, and here's another kind of scanner you'll find at the airport. It's the metal detector. It scans your bags and pockets to make sure that everyone and everything on the plane is safe. So you'll have to empty your pockets before you walk through.
I think that should be it.
Eventually, the bags end up right here in the belly, or pit of the plane.
I'd like to welcome you on board. Is this the first time you've ever been in a pit like this?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now, if I'm getting the bags off this conveyor belt, and I'm going to put them in there to stack them up, say if I've got maybe 100 bags, you think, well, boy, you'll never get that many bags in this airplane. So, when I fill that area up, we push this button this way. If you want to just push like that, then we just keep pushing it. We push the area back so that when we get ready to put more bags in, then we'll stop it about right now. See, then I've got all that space again, and I get another 50 bags. I fill that area up, then I push that button again, and that takes them back a little further.
Field trip will be right back after these messages. We now return to field trip.
Look at all this. Flights coming in, flights going out. How do they coordinate all this? I can't even keep my flight straight.
This is the control center. People like Regis Lindsay keep track of every United Airlines flight flying in and out of Denver.
I'm the gate controller today, and what I do today is I make sure that we have a gate for each inbound flight that comes in here. So if a flight is late, we have to ensure that there's a gate for that flight that when it comes in here, so that we can get the people off and the bags off and move the people to their other flights. I'm also responsible to make sure to keep what we call the airline running, because all our planes go out someplace, come back to us, go back out, and come back to us. So if we go out late somewhere, those people will come back late into us. So the object of the game is to keep the airline running on time.
If a plane comes late, we mess up all the schedules.
If a plane is late, he'll be running late all day. What we try to do is, let's say if that plane is going to come in here now, and he's doing here at 10 o'clock, well, we might have another plane that's coming in right about now, and he might sit here on the ground for 2 or 3 hours. We try and take that plane and switch it with this plane so that plane can go on time.
The control center has a special computer that keeps track of planes on the ground and in the air.
This is a terrific, terrific machine. As you can see, there's a lot of colors on it, and the different colors represent the different types of planes that we have. We have different types of aircraft. The green bars, the greens are 757s. The purple bar is a 777. And what the bar shows you is how long the bar is how long that aircraft is going to be here. So for example, this flight here, flight 233, on the left side of the bar, it shows the city where it's coming from, the 3-letter code, ORD, which is Chicago. And over here it has the 3-letter code of where it's going to, which is San Francisco. It's coming in at 1338, and it's going out at 1445. And inside here is the flight number. This machine, the end of the bar, this end of the bar, if you can see the mouse over here, gives us the status of that flight. This flight here hasn't left Chicago. When this flight leaves Chicago, the end of the bar will turn green to let us know that he's left the gate and is actually taxiing out to the runway. After he leaves the runway, the end of the bar will turn blue, like he's flying in the sky, blue skies. And then when the airplane lands here, it sends us a message and it blinks white. Then when the plane gets to the gate, and with the time that it sets, it turns pink.
What are these for here?
These are all transmit buttons. All these buttons up here are all different frequencies. The airport is cut up into 6 areas, 6 zones. And each area has its own radio frequency. So all those people in that area can talk to each other. The people inside here can talk back to out everybody there. Everybody's listening on the same channel, same frequency, so everybody knows what's going on at the same time.
Controllers also use cameras to keep an eye on things.
What are you watching whenever you watch these?
You see, what we do inside here is we organize and control everything that goes on outside. Ramp is responsible to load the airplane. Customer service is responsible to put the people on board the aircraft. We watch and monitor in case somebody hasn't shown up. For example, on this gate Bravo 36, we'd be watching that aircraft to make sure that the food truck, Dobbs is the name of the company that puts the food on, to make sure that he is showing up. We make sure that the fuel truck to put fuel on board the aircraft shows up. This way we ensure that all departments are working when they're supposed to, so the flight leaves on time.
Look at all the people it takes to service one airplane.
The controllers also use radar.
How big is the
Each ring, you see here, each ring is 10 miles. So we can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 miles out if we like.
The white lines in the center represent Denver's 5 runways. The thin lines show the plane's direction after takeoff.
What is that?
This little box over here will show us based on the computer here, the computer will send a message to us what time these flights are due in. So this will tell us this flight 1685 is due in at 11:16. Then over here we have a filter. We can move this box over here, and it can show us all the planes in the air.
Whoa. Sometimes does the airplanes come in and they go back out sometimes the same day?
Only they go out, they come in and go out in 30 minutes. We have a whole bunch of people that'll come in, they'll take all the mail off the plane, all the freight, all the bags, and all the people off the plane. And then we have to clean the plane and put all that stuff back on for that new flight.
What is that red and black button?
The red is for the windshield wipers on the cameras. Because when we get snow and ice, when it snows here, it gets snow on it, and then we can turn it off.
Are you the only person who does this, or do other people help you out?
There's a lot of other people who do this job, and there's a lot of other people in the room who also do the same job. And we all work together as a team. You have to have a lot of teamwork and a lot of good communication.
What are other things that other people do here, or do they do the same?
Don makes sure that all the food that's supposed to be on the plane is on the plane. Bill over here works for customer service. If there's any customer service problems, any related issues that happen with customer service, manpower, he will take care of that. In the room here too, on the other end, we have a lot of maintenance people. People who fix the airplanes.
Field trip will be right back after these messages.
And now back to field trip.
Just like pilots, the controllers work high above the ground.
Okay, here, welcome to the ramp tower. This is the ramp tower. We're about 150 feet above the ground right now. And what we do here in the ramp tower is when an airplane lands, after they talk to the FAA, they come in here and they talk to us. And then we taxi the planes in to the gate, tell them what gate they're going to. And then when they're ready to go, we taxi the planes back out, and then the FAA picks up those planes, taxis those planes to the runway, and takes them off the runway.
Why is the tower so tall? Why did they
That's another
build
good
the
question.
other tower so tall?
Well, the other tower, the tower has to be tall enough so that nothing obstructs the vision of the controller looking at the planes. So whenever somebody looks out on a 360 degrees on the circle, they can see everything and anything. Nothing will block their vision so that they can always see the aircraft.
If you're here and another captain's in his plane flying around, how you have to communicate?
How do we communicate? We could do it two ways. We can communicate by radio, by pushing one of these buttons and having them come up on a frequency. And we could also go into this computer here, and on this screen, we could send him a message right to his cockpit. In the cockpit, he's got a message receiving machine that's got paper in it. And we could send a message right to his page writer, and he can pull it up, and we can send him a message.
How come you got two towers?
The FAA tower does all the airplanes that fly around the airport and in the air, and then once they land on the runway. And then we have our tower because we wanted to be in charge of the taxiing in and out of the airplanes. We wanted to do that ourselves.
Field Trip helped controllers taxi flight 1580.
The gate is 38 right out there. It's that blue tail 10. Okay? That's a DC-10. This is inside B. This is looking at it right from the camera, which is on top of the building looking at it. And this is inside the jetway. And you can see that they finished loading the front of the cabin because they have two pits, one in the front, one in the back.
Was it gate B8 or D8?
Pilots and controllers use a special type of language to communicate.
1580 go. All right, the best you ever had. Thank you. She's going to taxi out too, sir. See what he said? It was really good.
That's good.
Yeah. So then when he calls, you can say, taxi to 4 Echo.
Okay.
Contact ground on 121.85.
Okay.
So we use E instead of E. E stands for Echo. A would be Alpha, B Bravo, C Charlie. So this way, when you say a letter, they know exactly what you're talking about. Because they might be able to get B mixed up with P. So if you say B Bravo, they know that Bravo means B. If you say P Papa, if you say Papa, that means P. We use that so that everybody has a clear understanding.
D8. Wait, don't close that door. Aren't airlines and airports interesting? To find out more about them, here are some books you might want to read. Thanks.
Aircraft, the question and answer book. The Smithsonian Book of Flight for Young People by Walter J. Boyne.
I'm coming.
Just made it!
It's been that kind of a day.
Oh my, well you're here now.
Great, thank you.
Okay, here you go, Mr. Polisar. Your seat is 14D.
Great, thank
Welcome
you.
aboard. Have a
All right,
nice flight.
thanks. Excuse me. My. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Sorry about that.
Taxi to 4 Echo. A contact ground on 121.85. Have a good day.
United Airlines Flight 777 is ready for an on-time departure for Denver. On behalf of all of us, thank you for choosing the friendly skies and have a great flight.
Well, looks like we're off. See you next time on Field Trip.
What's the coolest thing about the airport?
The plane.
The planes?
First class.
First class.